there a quick way to success? I think there is. I'm an entrepreneur and I've been building businesses for the past 11, 12 years. I think it has become an obsession now. I started my very first business in a PPE industry, an extremely monopolized space. And without any entrepreneurship background, without the skills to do it, it was a very daunting task, right? And I think what was really cool is that at the very early stage of my businesses, I had a privilege of actually having an advisory board, right? Which really helped me to build very strong systems, very strong processes, and almost built me up and capacitate me to grow the business at a very high speed. And I think in the first 5 years, we had actually grown that particular business with just over 866%. And with that amount of success, I started wondering to myself, is there actually another way of building such a successful business without studying it as a startup? And I thought to myself, maybe let us explore the idea of looking for other entrepreneurs who have already established businesses. I could then buy into their businesses, right? And bring what I figured is my skill, it's my expertise, while they bring their expertise and I could leverage of that. And in 2017, the first opportunity came. This was a beautiful couple that I had known. I had known the guy because he had been my graphic designer for a couple of years. And that was my first acquisition. And it goes so well. Everyone understands, what we are bringing to the table. Very passionate about the vision, bought into the vision. And it goes well. It really, really goes well. And I thought, maybe I figured out that there is actually a quick way to succeed. Yeah. Then 2019, another opportunity comes for me to buy into a business. And this time around, there is a common friend that I know in an industry, oil and gas. And he says to me, I want you to meet this guy because I think you guys can work well together. You're both passionate about health and safety. You can just make a miracle team. Of course, I go for it, right? The business goes well. We kick it off the ground. We start succeeding. We're signing on big contracts. Guys, at this stage, I'm thinking, hey, I have figured this out. Actually, mergers and acquisition works. It is the way to success. Then the third opportunity comes. Of course, I go for it. This is a no-brainer. Remember, I'm the expert at this game now. I do this with my eyes closed, right? So go into the acquisition. Man, I have known these guys because they had been part of my suppliers in one of the businesses. And I thought it's a no-brainer. This is going to work well. And the thing about this measure is that it's probably the biggest opportunity for me because I had always been very passionate about owning my value chains. And this particular one, it gives me that opportunity to actually own my value chain and control a little bit of market share. Of course, I go for it, yeah? This time, I'm not even asking for advice, guys. I am the advice itself. I know how measures and acquisition work. Of course, we go into the deal. The first year, me being good at this game, close few deals, businesses going well, revenue, we are passing all the targets we've put. And I'm thinking, this thing is working, guys. This is the quick way to success. But deep down, I can feel something is just off. I don't know what it is. I cannot explain it, but I know that something is just off. But again, it's me. I've won previously in this game. My confidence is extremely high. I'm thinking, we'll probably find each other. We're probably just new partners trying to figure this thing out, getting used to each other, and we will get it. Yeah. We continue winning. Financially, we are smashing all the records, guys. We are employing left, right, and center. From the outside, the business is growing. I am the success. I am the talk of the town. Everything looks good. But again, something is just off. Eventually, I decide, let me take some time to actually spend time in the businesses so that I can figure out what is this offish feeling that I have about this whole thing? Whew, I wish I did not do that, because everything that I had imagined, I had thought of, it was exactly the same, but it was actually worse than what I anticipated. Employees were ill-treated, employees were not treated well, people were abused, people were dehumanized. And I think because throughout the years, one of my personal statement of purpose has really been around, I wanted to empower ordinary people, because I believe when people are empowered and they are self-sufficient, they will always go back to their communities and replicate that impact. And to see people treated like that, it was totally wrong. I could not stomach it, because it was against the very core of what my personal purpose statement is all about. One morning, I am walking from the kitchen, going into my office, and I hear this particular manager screaming, swearing, like dehumanizing, talking to one of the junior employees. Of course, I could not just watch and see that happen. I then approached the manager, and ever since that day, I was labeled, something is wrong with me, because this is how things has always been done. And I knew that we had a problem. Again, I'm very optimistic. Those who know me know this. I'm thinking, I'm going to talk to my partners, because I'm not going to deal with management at this level. I'm going to talk to EXCO. I'm taking this to EXCO, and we will find each other. We will figure this out. Then I take this to EXCO. My heart sank, because I realized this was not low management issue. This was a poison that came straight from the top. Very soon, I also started receiving the same treatment. I was called all kinds of names. I was abused as well. And I was then eventually also excluded from different executive roles, because then I decided I was actually not going to keep quiet. I was going to be the voice and speak up for people who could not speak for themselves. And that was very difficult. It was a very difficult time of that partnership. And one evening, I'm at home, we're chilling, we're watching TV, everything is normal. The next minute, I wake up and I'm at ER. I'm surrounded by doctors. There's wires all over my body. There's those scary lights. And I just broke down and cried. And I remember with a squeaky voice, I asked, "What's wrong?" And one brave doctor said to me, "We are still running tests, ma'am, but we think you actually had a heart attack."
Oh, wow. Fifi.
A few hours later, another doctor comes with a pile of papers, but this time with a comforting smile, and he says to me, "It was actually not a heart attack. You actually have a very strong heart." A few hours later, they come and say, "You have to go home, but we're putting you on bed rest because you are dealing with a lot of stress." And I was put on bed rest. And when I left that hospital, guys, I knew that there is no way that I could continue with this partnership. It was difficult because I felt like I'm a failure. And I mean, if you have such a strong record of winning consistently and winning all the time, losing is really a very bitter pill to swallow. And I was not prepared to deal with that. But I knew that I could not stay in this environment. And I felt sorry for my employees. You know, we had built a family. These are people that we have changed their lives through the years. Some they've went through tertiary education because we've paid for it. Some they had moved from two-room shacks to massive houses that they have built. You know, I was just so sad that if I leave, it means I'm leaving them behind and no one will be able to fight for them. But again, I knew that if I don't leave, I was gonna die in this partnership. Eventually, I decided I'm gonna leave the partnership. I then put my my shares up for sales, and that happened. And three lessons that I need us to maybe look at. The first lesson is that company culture is extremely crucial, and we have to make it part of the due diligence that we do. Because normally when we do due diligences in acquisitions and measures, we check everything. We check financials, we check longevity, we check sustainability, but we never check culture. And how do you do that? Some of the things that you can do around culture fit, it's sit down with the employees and not just management, employees throughout the entire value chain. Talk to them, understand what do they understand about the values of that business, the culture of that business. You know, if they had to work for that business without being paid, will they actually be willing to do that? So check that. The second lesson, it's really about our bodies. They know our values. And our bodies knows when we're happy, they know when we are not happy. And as much as we can lie to other people, we cannot lie to our bodies. When we are not happy, when we are going against the very same principles and values that we have taught our bodies, they will eventually collapse. And that's what happened to me. So here I am applauding with you to make sure that you listen to that inner voice. You listen to the Holy Spirit when He guides you. You listen to that gut feeling, because most of the time, that's where the crux of your reality sit. The last lesson that we learned here is that walking away from toxic relationships and toxic environments, it's actually not a shame walk away. It's actually an act of bravery, and it's a powerful thing that you can ever do for yourself. And for you to be able to do that, maybe start building a very strong support structure around you. Build other streams of income. Because the reality is, it's extremely important for you to walk away from toxic people if you are financially dependent on them. It's difficult to walk away from toxic environment if you are, leaning on them for support. So build different nets where you know if things don't go well, you are able to fall on those nets. So how am I doing? I'm really well. I have taken an executive role now. We have been hiring a lot of COOs in different businesses to really just take care of the operations, and I can get to enjoy some executive benefits. So I'm really happy, but I'm also spending a lot of time with entrepreneurs, really just paying it forward, making sure that people can probably learn from my journey. But yeah, we're still good. We're still kicking ass. We're still winning. And I'm really in a great space. I'm spending a lot of time with my family, which is something that I never got to do, because when you grow business at that level, you get to leave out of airports, right? One flight after the other. So I'm really happy that I am in a good space. I think really closing remarks for me, the question that I asked again, is there a quick way to success? I think there is. I think there is a quick way to success. I think that if we can get mentors and business coaches, people who have traveled the road before, we can lean on their experience, we can learn from their mistakes, and that can help us to grow a little bit quicker. I also think that me sharing my biggest blunders today, you can use that as your stepping stone to make sure that you navigate the entrepreneurship way better than I have. Thank you.